Do you think that we should build a parking garage downtown?
I think we have. I would have said absolutely not 10 years ago. I would say possibly now, but we need to do better enforcement and tweak the rules. We should be doing demand management, and we should be changing pricing down there and making sure that if you haven't done that, you can't have it be cheaper to park. Like, everyone thinks that we're going to build a parking garage. Everyone's going to get to park right in front of their business, and the rich guys are going to park in the parking garage and pay for it. Well, it doesn't work that way. If you want to do this, you have to have the most convenient parking be the most expensive, and the garage should almost be free. The NRTA should be free. If we want to encourage it, you'd charge less. And so at some point we're going to have to deal with it. We're probably when we did all the studies 15 years ago, the magic number was like 25,000 cars, and I think we're right around that now. I've only
there's no way of stopping it. You've always been.
Oh, I think we should have done something about it.
Absolutely.
10 or 15 years ago.
You were always talking about this.
Yeah, and I still think we should do something.
Well, what could we do?
At this point, it may in some ways it may be too late. I mean, we can change incentives. I mean, what people have to realize is doing nothing is an action, and so by doing nothing, what we've done is it's led to 25,000 vehicles, maybe more.
It all comes back to how much building you're doing.
Exactly. Every house is 2-point-something cars. They may not park in that driveway, but all these new houses need to be serviced, and they need staff and everything else.
Yep.
And so that's where your number is from.
Right.
I've only been on the MPDC. I just got back on for one meeting. And hopefully, like we used to track that number, I hope that we're still doing that. I'll know, next meeting or two.
Right.
Because, that was an important number. How many cars are netting out here, and what is the impact? And you can't fix that with a few roundabouts. I mean, I think those are helpful, and it's, they're making it safer, but they're not, they're not stopping the backlog of cars from from the Rotary all the way up to the airport midsummer.
Right. What do you think of the new board?
I like it.
Yeah. How's it different from the last board? Now that we had the election,
I think we're getting our feet under us. I think Jim brings a different set of. I think he's bringing a bigger picture view to the board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's
take him for a ride.
Yeah, I think he's trying to do some, sort of strategic planning and look at the big picture. It's fun. He doesn't want to go backwards. He and I have that conversation all the time. Well, we can't go backwards. Well, Jim, if you don't look backwards and know what you did right and wrong, how can you fix it going forward?
Right.
So sometimes, Andy, I think he assumes a certain level of, analysis and expertise led into certain decisions, and sometimes they wasn't that there yet. We're getting better. The finance department's a lot better. We're doing better, but we've got a ways to go.
All right, tell me about what happened here. This is now
you guys. Flock.
Okay, this was Nantucket Bake Shop.
Nantucket Bake Shop. Yep. It's 79 Orange Street. It's Sheila's got her yarn shop, and in the back third we have a apartment where one of our employees is staying. Yep. And it was kind of a labor of love. We basically renovated the entire place.
Completely, pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, the outside, we kept all the windows. We kept everything that we could. Like, we kept everything intact.
Spot out here, good.
Yeah. We kept everything intact that we were able to keep, but we put the facade from 106 Main Street. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was like in 2000, 2002, something like that. There was a big fight, and they tore the building down.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was Jack Dunn. And the people chained themselves in front of the building.
Oh my gosh!
That's the facade from this.
How did you get your hands on that?
That was stored by the land bank after they tore the building down, and then they got tired of having it on their property, so it got moved to Liz Coffin's on Union Street. So the house as you're turning down Union, just past 56 Union, going on to town.
Right.
Her house is right in the left, big yard. Had this big yard thing in it for 10 years.
Oh my god!
And so and some of it was rotted, but about 30% of it was usable. The whole right side, all the teeth that you see, like that are sticking down, the whole facade on the top.
Oh right.
All that was usable.
Well, good. It looks beautiful.
It's amazing. The same guy built this building, built like 4 or 5 of them. And so the buildings matched, like they were exactly the same shape and size. and they were like 1875, 1879, somewhere in there. And these were in the cheaper parts in the edges of town. So they were at the top of Main Street, where the monument is, which was kind of the edge of town then. And it was down here, which was the edge of town. There was another market across the street, and a couple more up the street. Yep. I grew up on Fair Street, and there was a market right over there, Riders, which was, right on the corner there.
You grew up there?
Yeah, I grew up to the backside of it. So in 60s, I think they left.
Now, didn't you get some acknowledgement for this building?
Yeah, we've got something from Preservation Trust. They have something, they give out rewards, so we got it for preserving the facade of it, which is neat. Yeah.
You did a beautiful job. I mean, I haven't been in it, but I'll get a couple.
You got to come back and look.
I will.
Sheila's stuff, it's amazing. Her color and everything.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it really is.
And you have an apartment in the back?
Yeah,
too?
there's a 1-bedroom apartment in the very back,
that's
300 square
sweet.
feet, and it's perfect. Yeah, and the whole yard, there's
300 square feet. That's like a tiny house.
Yeah, and it's.
What do you think of those?
Oh, it's incredible.
You like the tiny house idea?
I like them. I like small houses.
Okay.
I like small houses. The tiny house I like. We'll see. The whole wheel thing, and and the problem is you got to get the land.
I actually had a guy come up to me yesterday.
Where do you get the land?
He's just a guy I've known for a while, and he said, "Hey, some guy approached me about building a tiny house on my property, and I think I'm going to let him do it because he says I'll only be there for so many years, and I'll pay the whole building of it, and then it's yours."
Yeah. Well,
there's all kinds of ways.
So maybe, hopefully things like that'll happen. I mean,
that's just one part of it, right?
Yeah,
right.
but it's so say it gets us 5 or 10 a year. That's still better than we have, and they aren't going to have a huge impact.
All right. All the people that are living on boats, which has been it's ever since I've been here. People have been living on boats.
Yes.
So your
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. Your opinion of that? What are we helping them by taking away their parking? What's your view on all that, that whole situation?
I think the parking going away was in my mind was inadvertent. I don't think we were talking about Silver Street lot and changed the rules slightly, but that was like 3 years ago, and then nothing really seemed to change until this year. So we're going to talk about that. I think we might even have it on the agenda tonight in the Selectmen's meeting.
Right.
But now I think it's great that we have housing on the boats and things, but then the question becomes, how much of it do you want to encourage? And Toby and I, because Toby's like, oh, we want as much as we can. I go, well, Toby, we're trying to get the harbor back, and part of the problem is, people going to the bathroom in the harbor, and
but I mean, you still.
Well, the people go. They've got.
Everyone has to take responsibility for their actions.
They do, but they have
they got a $20 million boat or they live on a. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but the reality though is sometimes if you talk to anyone that's on the water in the summer, like when we have those big yachts come, the big races come in, you can't tell me that a lot of stuff isn't happening then. They're not dumping. They're not all.
No,
not everyone has a holding tank. Not every time there's a party on somebody's boat out there, people are doing what they're doing, and so I think so that you've got to find a balance, and I think
it's education.
I think there's It is, but it's education alone won't do it. Like fertilizer regulations, we can educate till the cows come home, but if you don't enforce,
okay. I'm glad you brought it up.
But the same thing on the harbor. If you have rules about holding tanks and somebody doesn't follow the rules, then they shouldn't be living on the harbor again.
Say
you have to have some sort of. You got to be tough on people.
All right. Let's say you're going to be tough, then it's okay. If there's a regulation that says you got to have a holding tank and it has to be approved and inspected,
then it's okay in a balance.
Okay.
It might be okay with 20 or 30 of them. Is it okay with 300 or 3,000? If everyone figures out that that's the way to come to Nantucket for the summer,
right,
and they run it right up the whole harbor,
right,
it won't be okay. So a lot of this is what you're saying with housing. All of this. I just think sometimes there are limits, and you have to acknowledge that there might be limits.
So what should we do about fertilizer then?
Oh, I think we should be enforcing it more, as diligently as we are. I think
it's definitely going to be a thing of the past.
I think eventually.
I mean, the kind of fertilizer. Maybe there's other kinds that are not nitrate heavy. And
there's certain kinds that certain ones are allowed here now. So that's and I think we're working on that, getting that out. And I like Roberto at the health department. I think he's taken some of these things and he's really running with them, which is good.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Well, like in what way? How is
Like
he running
enforcing, he's given 4 or 6 tickets, and
He has already.
Oh yeah, his guys have, and they go out and they tell everybody,
Really?
and so now
What are they doing? How do they do that? How does that work?
they see somebody doing something improperly, putting the stuff on when it's raining or after it rained, or
But why
putting the
couldn't-
wrong
why
thing
couldn't
on.
they just go to like this guy, well, just any green lawn, and stick a measuring device in there and decide and find out how much fertilizer?
Well, just because it's green doesn't mean that you put it on improperly. If you actually put it on properly, you can still have a green lawn. That's the tricky part.
right,
So
all right.
it's if you put too much of it on, or if you put it on at the wrong time, like the other, and there's things that we hadn't even thought about.
See, I got a problem with too much enforcement. I mean, I honestly think that the best way to make long-lasting changes through education.
But it has to be a combination. If there's no enforcement, then there's no reason for people to bother to learn why they have to do it. If there's you got to have a carrot and a stick. You can't just have the carrot, or just have the stick. I mean, I think you have to have both, and that's sometimes that's tough.